All right, traders, before I go into the watch list for Tuesday, I'm going to babble a little bit because I got a couple things I want to say. Let me start by saying I had a red day today. Um, I had two red days in all of November, and I think between those 2 days, they equaled $100 in losses between my two red days in November. Well, this is my first red day in December, and it was $207. So, if nothing else, it's proof that I do keep my losses small. I play defense first. When the SPY looked like this today, this just goes to show you, this is like, hey, look, I made this brilliant post. This is what the SPY looked like intraday. These are daily candles, but it was trading down here at 259.28. I said when something falls this far this quickly to break recent support, the most likely scenario is a snapback bounce. The brilliance of this is that's when I posted it, and then you can see what happened. It ended up closing up here. All that does is serve to make me look like an idiot because in my tweet I posted, I'm not putting any money to work on this, but I kind of expected this SPY to bounce. And if nothing else, there's a good lesson there for any somewhat newer trader because you can see I drew some lines here. The SPY is clearly in a range, and look how it went from the top of the range to the bottom of the range in like a week. That's a crazy move. So then when it takes out these lows, I told everybody in the chat room, back when I was a young trader, I would have thought, ooh, it's taking out support. It's losing the lows from October, right? I'm going to get in short heavy. And that's not very smart thinking. You always have to look at, and this is why people like flags, right? Because it gives you a tight range to play out of. You always want to look at how far something's come to break support or conversely resistance if it's come a long way to break resistance. It's almost never a good idea to take that trade in the direction that it's moving. All right, I hope that makes sense. I think my theory on why I lost today, and I'm not even kidding about this. I tweeted this this weekend. Many of you will understand why I tweeted this. It wasn't trying to show off my car. I was sort of taking a shot at somebody who's now somewhat famous for saying, I'm not like those furus out there, right? I actually earn my money through trading, not through subscriptions, which is ironic because him and his buddies have been calling anyone who runs a room poor traders for years. And if you run a room, you don't know how to trade. So that's why you run a room and so on. And yet they run a room now. So I didn't really understand that tweet. But then the embarrassing part was in the video, you can hear him basically saying, Mom, where's Dad's car keys, right? And that's after posting that it's his car earned from his great trading, right? So me, anytime I'm somewhat of a smartass towards anyone else, I usually trade poorly. I call it karma, whatever you want to call it. But I think it was this tweet that is the reason I'm red today. And really, normally, if somebody it kind of makes an ass of themselves, my first instinct is always to just feel bad for them. But when you're cutting other people down for a lot less than what you're really doing, I don't know, it kind of got under my skin. So to me, I thought this tweet was funny. And so then I followed up with a tweet today saying my dad asked me if I wanted to use his car to make myself look like a really, really good trader. And I respectfully declined. And you can probably see why. So anyway, I'm done being a jackass over this. It's almost like it just got under my skin so bad I couldn't not tweet like that. So one other thing to say, speaking of me railing on stuff, if you follow me on StockTwits and you wonder where I went, I have been banned from StockTwits. I don't say this in the video to whine, but I had like over 18,000 followers on there. So I would just respectfully ask anyone who misses my nightly videos or anything, I try to put out a lot of educational stuff on there. Come on over to Twitter and follow me at Great Stock Picks. I was at GSP on StockTwits. And they banned me. And in short, anytime I say this, I sort of have to explain. They banned me for posting charts that almost always have these nasty topping tails and closing solid red on the day, and they're always the same symbol that was called first thing in the morning by a heavy advertiser on their site, right? And I guess, and I never named anybody because I wouldn't do that. I'm not about to try to get in a Twitter war with somebody. So I didn't name this person, But StockTwits figured it out. Howard Lindzen responded to my post, "Who you talking about?" And I responded to him. I'm not going to name names. And just like that, they banned me. So I'm pretty sure he figured out who I was talking about. And I'm pretty sure the person I was alluding to probably spends 6 figures a year at StockTwits advertising. As always, this is all my theory. I could be wrong, not accusing anybody of anything. But I've seen people post a heck of a lot worse stuff on StockTwits and a heck of a lot less educational. I was just trying to show people that, hey, isn't it weird that somebody's making a killing on this stock, and then you look at the daily and it closed red and it had one spike in the morning. To me, that's really valuable information, right, for a newer trader to understand some of the shenanigans that goes on out there. But long story short, I am permanently banned from StockTwits. I'm not going to say this and show that at the beginning of every video, but I do want to put that out there. Here's what I'm watching for tomorrow, all right? RKDA. Let me go back to the SPY real quick. So the SPY, a nice little bottoming tail through that recent, through the recent lows, but a very strong close. So now we're hanging out. We held the bottom of the range basically. So now, do we go up and test the top? Who knows? We could be red again tomorrow. That's why I just take these on a day-by-day basis, and that's why I'm in cash every night. So here's what's worth watching. Okay, one more thing. I want to show people why I was red today, because I do think this is worth showing. Cron is what got me, right? C-R-O-N. And I want to show it to you because Cron had the gap up on Friday after confirmation that Altria Group, a cigarette maker, a huge name, took a huge stake in Cron. So for me, immediately that puts a floor under it, right? Like, okay, there's a huge backer behind this company. And also just all the pot stocks might have a little floor under them now because you see big tobacco investing in it. So take that as part of it, right? So it's interesting, and it closes red on Friday, and then let's go to today and kind of show you my thinking. So then it opens, there's your opening 5-minute candle, and it just sells off. But then right about here, I started talking about this thing curling up. Now, if you know the way I trade, if you follow me at all, you know I like to take trades where I'm going to be green right away and I've got inflection point or stacked catalysts above that, like dominoes, that could start falling. So I want to be green right away, and I want to enter at a time where the stock's just going to start knocking down overhead dominoes, and I can scale out into that strength, right? You don't have that when you've got a long base here in the middle of the day where it's slightly breaking out. There's a good chance you're going to get shaken out if you buy here, and I want immediate results. Having said that, it did climb up pretty nicely. So then it comes up and basically flags right below 13. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit now to show this to you. Right there. Okay, so it's flagging below 13. There's a big seller at 13. My thinking is if it takes out that seller, by the way, slightly above the open now, so we've just gone red to green, right, on the daily candle. And the high of day is 13.15. So if we break through this flag, a whole number break, plus a big seller on the tape, I'm thinking we could get enough momentum to take out that 13.15. And if Cron lights up the new highs ticker in the afternoon, after the recent news and chart action, I'm thinking squeeze, right? Shorts are just wrong and they're going to panic out of it. So the one thing I don't like about it is the 13 break, it's still got to climb up another 16 cents or 15 cents to break the high of day, which isn't that close for a stock that moves like Cron, right? Anyway, so it actually broke 13 and went to 13.03 and a half and kind of rug pulled. I didn't take a huge loss in it, but I took a loss in it, and that on top of everything else, the SPY was climbing higher in a strong fashion while this was setting up. So you had like 3 or 4 reasons why this trade should have worked, right? And to me, the great lesson there is it doesn't matter how many things are lined up. Nothing has to work, right? This can always happen. So again, I was only red $207 or whatever on the day, and I actually tried Cron one more time. As it flagged, this time I thought, okay, now the 13 break, you've got another catalyst above 13.04, and then high of day, and then squeeze, and it literally did that. I only lost like a penny this time because I was playing it so tight. Anyway, I did want to share with you why I lost. It was a very, very clean setup. It wasn't perfect, but there were a lot of things in my favor, and it just didn't work. All right, so now let's go to Cron, by the way, is on my list for tomorrow, but it's down the list a little bit. So RKDA, just a strong pop out of a base and strong volume for this stock. I certainly want to point out that it still hadn't even traded 1 million shares. So it's probably a very thin trader, but I'm going to have it on my radar. INNT, also a nice pop and a very strong close on very strong volume for the stock. So we'll see if that one gives any kind of intraday continuation setup tomorrow. MRNS, crazy action in this one. It gapped up and really sold off. It came all the way back up and touched 6, which it touched here, touched it again here, and then closes, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of its range. So I don't have a price that, well, I mean, I actually love it over 6, and it, like, say it gaps up to 590 tomorrow, I would probably love this through 6. But if it opens at 524 and then gets straight up to 6, it's another one of those scenarios. Come too far too fast, I'll have to take another type of setup in it. But anyway, because of that volume and because of that intraday action, I have it on watch, but it's not like I love it at this price or any kind of thing like that. Cron, already talked about this. You've got the high after the news was verified, then a lower high. Over today's high would be over 13.15. That could be a catalyst for tomorrow. And again, we don't know where it's going to open. So I do want to keep a close eye on this. The thing I like about it is now after the gap up on Friday, it never did break its early high. I'm showing you 15-minute candles, right? Never broke its early high on Friday, and today never broke its early high. I look for that because then if one of these days, wherever it opens, and it goes sideways for a while, and then you get an afternoon high of day break, a lot of times with action like this, that's a catalyst for a potential squeeze. So NBEV, another pot stock. This one looks pretty good. It popped up back here to 540. Right here, it hit 535. I love it over 535 because then you have another domino to fall right here over 540. Then it sold off for a couple days, and then it's right back up. So 60-minute candles here, you might be able to get a better look at it. Right? It's sort of a cup and handle on 60s. So let's keep a close eye on this. And again, I think we might get a big pot stock rally one of these days. The farm bill is floating around out there too. And with the Altria investment in Cron, I think it's certainly a space we want to keep our eyes on. NVLN, just on Bounce Watch. It was on Bounce Watch today after the gap up and 3 or 4 days lower. And now it hit the 20-day today. No trades in it today, but goes back on watch for tomorrow. CLDR had this pop, then a red day, then right back green, and a couple catalysts above. We'll see if that one gives a setup tomorrow. Hawaiian Airlines, HA, nice bottoming tail today. Closing pretty strong. We're going to see if that one wants to continue the bounce tomorrow. ADIL, after this huge move, we're now like 4 or 5 days down in a row on declining volume, kind of closing close to the 20-day. Looks like it briefly flushed too. I think that's worth watching for a bounce tomorrow. I want to point out it only traded 251,000 shares. After like a week ago, it traded over 15 million in one day. So volume has really dropped off on it. AETI, another one that gapped up and popped for 2 days. And now you've got 3 days lower on declining volume. Possible bounce tomorrow. And then FedEx is just really beaten up. FDX. We'll see if that one gives a bounce play setup tomorrow. I didn't mean to babble this long. My apologies. We'll see everybody in chat tomorrow. Have a good night.